Hi there, and welcome to 31 Days of Mostly Live Horror. This is the Cult of Cinema, and I am Aaron. Tonight we are going to be talking about, for the first night, and I let you guys vote on this through Twitter. So for everybody that voted on that, thank you so much. Hey there, Amy. October begins, and it begins in anthology, portmanteau fashion, with Creepshow 3, or as it's better known, Tales from the Darkside, the movie. And by the way, if you do not have this edition, Scream Factory, hey there, Dustin, has killed it with this release. So if you have any other release of Tales from the Darkside, it's worth an upgrade. Hey there, William. We are going to be talking about the movie, but we are also going to talk about the genesis of Tales from the Darkside, which is Tales from the Darkside, the complete series. I'll even tell you what I'm not sure if it's my favorite episode, but it's the episode that creeps me out the most. And it's honestly one of the episodes that creeps me out the most. Hey there, Joseph. Pretty much like across the board. My daughter just asked me which. Hey there, Mark. What my first movie for the first day of Halloween was. Because it's Halloween month. So, before I get into the movie itself, I'm going to list some of my favorite episodes from Tales from the Darkside, the series, and then we'll get into the movie afterwards. Or would you rather go to the movie first and then go back to the series? Because we can do it either way. Here it is. It's that time right now that I normally do in every episode that's like these. Hey there, Alan. You got yours before me. Hey there, Christine. Welcome. And you came in for the first day of the 31 days of almost all live horror. We're talking Tales from the Darkside, the movie and the TV series. So for those that are unaware, it was a series that was created, well, primarily by George Romero. He actually did the first episode. That Bloodthirsty Trilogy and Stray Cat Rock, excellent choices. Movie first. Hey there, George. Okay, we'll do that. We'll do the movie first. Oh. Let me just make sure this thing here is turned down. Oh my god, I'm going to kill this here phone. All right. Okay, so I'm going to put your comments on the... I'll put your comments on the big one first because we can actually talk about the series after. But there is an episode of the series that I will tell you right now, it's so scary and so chilling and so heartbreaking all at the same time that we are definitely going to dive into that one. And not only that, but people that know, hey there, Kubrick, that know me as a guy that was going to act at one point, and know my love for soap operas, are they're gonna get that. So, Creepshow, the series, it's a thing now, but it was originally supposed to be a thing years ago. Well, they couldn't really do it, but they made a series anyway. I'm super excited for October. And that series was Tales from the Darkside, which was so popular, it lasted for, I think, 4 seasons, and it spun off into this movie. Now, for those that have not seen Tales from the Darkside, I can, there's no, like, spoiler alert. It's a, in my opinion, I'm gonna put it out there. It's a perfect anthology film. It is an anthology film in which all 3 stories are not just uniquely different, but worked on different levels, and the wraparound of this works just as good as the 3 stories that it's highlighting. You have not seen this one, Christine. You've got to see this. You will love this film. Cast-wise, well, it's pretty amazing. You got Deborah Harry, Christian Slater, David Johansen, otherwise known as Buster Poindexter, William Hickey, James Remar, Ray Don Chong. Special effects makeup consultant on this is Dick Smith. You've got a screenplay here for one of them by by George Romero, based on a short story by Stephen King. Another one based on a story by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Uh, Produced by Richard P. Rubenstein. Uh, Directed by John Harrison, and it is incredible. This is, and John Harrison was pretty much known for like episodes of Tales from the Darkside that he had done. And these are basically the three stories that we're getting into right here. So you have one story. Hey, Cinema Dave, happy October to you. Make sure I didn't miss anybody's comment. Hey there, Jason. It will be a great month for new releases. And more than one good box set. So the stories go like this. We have a story about a mummy with Steve Buscemi as the lead character. Yes, Steve Buscemi. And Julianne Moore, by the way, also in that one. And Christian Slater in the first story. The second story is about an evil cat with William Hickey, and even though his name is David Johansen, I always refer to him as Buster Poindexter because of his musical career. And a third story is one that AME knows extremely well because it's based on a Japanese legend, and it's the Gargoyle story. And that one stars James Remar and Ray Don Chan. There is a wraparound to this here, and the wraparound stars Deborah Harry and one of the Lawrence brothers. I can't remember which one. I do apologize. Maybe it says on the back, and I can pretend that it just came to me. Nope, it doesn't, so I can't even pretend that it just came to me. But if you guys, Matthew Lawrence, I think. Matthew Lawrence, maybe. So there are people here that haven't seen this. Okay, I'm going to try to not get into spoiler territory as best as I can. But with the wraparound, we're going to have to get into it a little bit. So we meet, first off, we see this like perfect little suburban neighborhood where we meet Matt Lawrence's character. And he's a young kid, he's like a paper boy, and he is presently in a cage in this really nice and tidy house. Aside from that, well, there's a cage there. Thanks you, Amy. I wasn't sure if it was Matt Lawrence for sure, so I was just like tentatively saying it. I knew it was like Joey Lawrence's younger brother, but I just didn't know for sure. When Debbie Harry comes in with her groceries, and we realize, well, she's kind of like the Hansel and Gretel type of witch. She's got Matthew Lawrence in a cage, and she is going to be cooking him for dinner, and she's having people over. I'm not joking. It's done very tongue in cheek, and in order to pretty much stop her from just putting him right in the oven, or basically starting, as she said, getting everything started, getting him cut open and preparing him. He decides to read her some stories from her favorite book, which is a huge tome that he has there that she gave him pretty much to occupy him in his cell. And that book is the Tales from the Darkside, which is pretty cool. We start off with I want to get like the story names right because I'll have them written on the back here, which is Lot 249. And Lot 249 stars Steve Buscemi as a nerdy but really smart university student who is really like obsessed with I'm gonna say like a lot here, I know, with getting like antiques. And his latest acquisition, hey BT, welcome. It's a mummy, and the mummy just happens to have this little tiny scroll inside of it. Now, Steve Buscemi is not just a character that just happened to come across an ancient mummy, but he's also very much in kind of like enamored with Julianne Moore in one of her first roles. But she's like the sister to Christian Slater, and she's dating this kind of jerky rich guy whose name I can't remember the actor, but I think he's someone too, but not as on that big a range. So Steve Buscemi's character had gotten screwed out of pretty much a grant that he needed, and unbeknownst to him, it was due to Julianne Moore, and she plans on doing even worse to him. She plans on setting him up uh, for uh, for robbing the college museum. And then he reads from a scroll that just happens to bring back to life a extremely very cool looking, very unique, and very different mummy. Hey there, Vince. Welcome, man. Hey there, Death Bomb. Check out Death Bomb stuff. By the way, he has a. If you like good music and stuff, he is here. Uh, he's yeah, he has some great stuff. He has a great label. Fargo Coast. I was wondering what you're talking about, man. I'm not caught up on Fargo, the TV series. I don't want to give too much away, but it's fun and it's different, and it's not just a regular like revenge story that you would like normally see. But it's there's twists. Like any good anthology film and anthology story, there are some good twists, and Christian Slater plays a really cool, kind of a preppy role, but much in the way that he did in like in What's Very Bad People, right? Um, he plays that kind of like slightly twisted role. Hey there, Richard, that he does so well, and it is brilliant. The special effects are fantastic. They're practical. You know, you got Stan Winston working on this stuff, um, so you're gonna get some amazing special effects in on this one right here. The second story is pretty straightforward. It's called The Cat from Hell, and it has two actors really in it. Hey there, Kay. It has David Johansen and William Hickey. Uh, Basically, William Hickey plays this. Of course, William Hickey is, of course, puppet master. Um, but David Johansen plays this hitman that's been hired by William Hickey to kill a mysterious person that he doesn't know. So he goes out there to the middle of this like decrepit but like this rich guy's mansion to find out who the hit is on. And he quickly finds out through like stories and like a bit of background story as well that William Hickey's character has been like pretty much he's been made a lot of money through experimentation, and a lot of that experimentation ended up with a lot of dead cats. And now there's a cat that's following him around, and he's pretty sure the cat wants to kill him and everyone around him. And he's ensured that the cat and he knows that the cat's killed people that he knows, or at least in his mind he thinks so. So Dave Johansen listens to this tale from William Hickey, and then finally William Hickey leaves, and Johansen says, "Okay, I've got an easy job. I just got to kill this one cat. What could be easier than that? Just kill this one cat in this mansion." And it's from the background story to there's one very very good death scene, yeah, Amy, in that story, which I do not want to give away, but definitely, hey there, Vince, definitely worth checking out, definitely worth watching. Uh, it's the perfect like buffer story for the story that we've had before, and it is kind of it is has some grotesque sequences for people that like the gorehound part of it, but nothing over the top. If and it's kind of lighter in a way than the like the both of the first stories are kind of light, but they work extremely well, especially when you come to the third story. Now, this one stars James Remar. Uh, James Remar was an actor at the time that had done a lot of heavy roles, and this was the chance to play kind of sort of a romantic lead. And this was too tempting for him to resist, especially alongside Ray Don Chang. Yes, hit the thumbs up button, or a mummy may knock on your door, or maybe that's only for the thumbs down people. Um, but he does have one of the best voices in the biz. Him and Clancy Brown, Craig. hands down, like two of the best voices that you're going to hear. Um, this is a pretty simple story. A man, one night he's out to a bar, and he sees another guy getting murdered in the in an alleyway by this hulking, huge gargoyle. The gargoyle tells him basically, "Don't ever tell anybody what you've seen, and I'll let you live." So James Remar says, fine, I'll never tell anybody. He goes back to, to living his life, and from that, like, he gets inspired. He becomes very successful. He meets a good girl, gets married, has a kid. Hey there, Vanessa. We are talking one of my all-time favorite anthology films, and if you haven't seen this one, Vanessa, which I'm sure you have, uh, pick up this version of it. Because I know somehow, yes. So it's hard to keep a secret, but it can be. But sometimes secrets have got to be kept, or else. So those are the three stories that comprise Tales from the Darkside, the movie. We're going to talk about the TV series too. So Vanessa, don't run out just because I'm almost finished the film. The wraparound for this story is extremely good as well. There isn't a. Here's the thing: you'll get anthology films that'll be pretty good. You get anthology films that'll have like a couple good stories. They want to be kind of weak, but you'll still like it a bit. And then you'll be like, make excuses for it. You'll be like, yes, this is great. All these stories are good. I love Trilogy of Terror. Trilogy of Terror is not completely solid with all three stories. This is. What do I think about the movie Cat's Eye? I like it a lot, actually. All things considered, I probably would, I don't know, push James Wood out the building. But aside from that, I actually really love Cat's Eye. I saw it in theater, actually. If you do not own this movie, I definitely recommend that you grab this and grab this specific copy. Why? Because it has pretty much a 2-hour long documentary on the film, and it goes through all of the aspects of the film, from the casting, directing, how it got like started, every part. Oh, regionality, you're right, Jason. Sorry about that. What do I think of Firestarter? It's a pretty good movie. Are you asking me because there's a remake coming out and people got upset because it's a remake? Because let's be honest here. Of all the movies that people can get upset about like having a remake of, then I'm going to say this right now. You're stretching if you're upset because Firestarter is the classic film that got a remake. It's already had a sequel. we're past those territories, and I'm sure this is probably going to be better than the sequel. Oh, George C. Scott! I love George C. Scott. He's the best part of that film. Although I love Drew Barrymore, of course. I would never discount Tales from the Hood. It's actually a favorite of mine. I still had to pick that copy up. I'll even buy Tales from the Hood 2, and 3 when it comes out, even though Tales from the Hood 2, not so great. You're right, Alan. It is called Rekindled. And it stars Malcolm McDowell, Firestarter 2 does. But yeah, so if you like the documentaries that were on things like Jamie Blank's Urban Legend from Scream Factory, if you like documentaries that were on Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, you are definitely going to love this one here, because not only is it a really great film that is solid all the way through, but it has a documentary much in the ilk of those documentaries. It is all encompassing, and it's something that a Scream Factory has been doing on a lot of their releases recently, and it really impresses me. So how many here? Happy George A. Romero Day. Well, then I chose the right movie, didn't I? Have watched this. Jamie Blank's movies are extremely underrated. I champion Jamie Blank's films on here all the time. because I really want to talk about a couple of the episodes in this. You got to get a Death Bomb. It's really that good. But the episode that I want to talk about first, the episode that breaks me up with this one over this series here, 1993 to 1998. It actually kind of has a spin-off series called Monsters as well. So if you've never seen Monsters, it's kind of the spin-off sort of series for this. So has anybody not seen Tales from the Darkside series? Seen a few episodes? Does anybody that's seen it? Do you have a favorite episode? Does anybody have a favorite episode of the series? Cuddy Black. So, well, I'm going to mention one right out of the gate, and I will give away the twist and stuff for this one here. Hey there, Brian. Brian did a new episode on Just the Discs, the YouTube channel, where he talks about Vinegar Syndrome. And I'm actually super excited to check that out tonight because I'm a huge Vinegar Syndrome fan, as you guys know. Brian, what's your favorite episode of Tales from the Dark Side? Because I know you've seen the series. See, the episode that affected me the most starred Alison Sweeney, who for many years, I think she comes back on every once in a while, played Sammy Brady on Days of Our Lives, by the way, but she was much younger this. And this, she was, it's called I Can't Help Saying Goodbye. And if any episode of his series is going to wreck you, I'm not even joking, of a horror series is going to wreck you, it's going to be I Can't Help Saying Goodbye. Alison Sweeney plays this little girl that has this unique and sad power. We find out early on that she can predict and tell when somebody is going to die. She will say goodbye to them, and she is not, responsible. She's not an evil kid or anything like that. She's in no way cursing them, but unfortunately, she knows that people are going to die, and she knows when. So anyway, throughout the episode, we see her say goodbye to certain people who eventually end up dead. And near the end of it, her a member of her family, I won't quite say who, but his can't take it anymore. And we see this little girl, and she stands in front of a mirror, and she waves. And we see water in the mirror. And at that point, we know that she's next, that they're going to kill her because they blame her. They can't take it. And it's just this shot throughout the episode too, just her just waving at herself, knowing, because she's known all these other deaths and probably as a child can't totally comprehend it. But there's just that ending sequence with her waving at herself in the mirror, and you, the audience, knowing, and she shockingly knowing. Talk to you later, okay? That she's gonna die too. It's heartbreaking. It's definitely worth checking out, Vanessa. If you've never seen the show, I know that seems like it's a pretty deep, heavy episode, and let's just. So there is her there as a little girl. I think she had like some like kind of like one of those weight loss type programs afterwards. Um, oh, it's not like the Ring. This is way like this is way darker than than the Ring. Um, Ring's like a curse film. This is like brutal. Other episodes that stood out to me are Word Processor of the Gods. It's one of my favorite Stephen King short stories. Um, I do remember actually. Um, there is an episode with a character named Lucy, which one you guys mentioned, who is right here. Isn't she adorable? That character was created by Tom Savini, by the way. The very first episode on here is directed by George Romero with special effects by Tom Savini as well. It's okay. It's not one of the best episodes of the series, but it's probably one of the best remembered. Probably because it was the pilot episode. And honestly, the whole idea is basically there's this really rich guy who has a lot of money, and he has pretty much bought up like all the he's got everybody owes him money in the town. He's got like their property, their money, all that stuff. They all owe him money, but he has this thing every year that people can go, like kids can go up and trick or treat at his place. They can even go into his place and try to go in and steal back their parents' IOUs, and that can be very tragic and frightening for a lot of the kids that do it. And it's a fun episode. It's a fun episode. There is an episode called "A Case of the Stubborns," which is again it's about an episode about a someone that dies, but they're too stubborn to actually stay dead. Uh, the episode scared you when you were a kid. Which one? The Case of the Stubborns. So basically, you have this character. Well, I think it's a grandfather or grandmother, right? Um, who basically dies. I think dies at the table too, right? But because that character, they're really, really stubborn, death can't take them. They refuse. They don't believe they're dead. They can't be dead. They're not ready to go yet. And as like parts like kind of come off, uh, it's a really funny episode actually. But I can see how it could bother you if you're like, especially as a kid, like with the body decomposing and stuff like that. And that's another one of the episodes that definitely stands out to me on the on Tales from the Dark Side, and like always has been like a personal favorite of mine. See, I want to see if I can find any other ones here that I really liked. I remember the Enormous Radio was good. Yes, there's the grandfather from A Case of the Stubborns, by the way. "'Tis but a flesh wound." And one of the most famous episodes from Tales from the Dark Side, which I won't give away too much, is called "Sorry, Right Number." And alas, the moth. But one of my all-time favorites, and it just works, and I don't want to give away basically anything from the episode because it's just so fun. It's called "The New Man," and it's about a basically a struggling alcoholic that kind of gets over it, sort of. It's really neat to check out. But pretty much on every list for Tales from the Dark Side, "Sorry, Right Number" pretty much tops the list. You guys didn't talk too much about Tales from the Dark Side, the series, so I'm guessing either a lot of you guys haven't seen it, or haven't seen it in a while, or aren't as enthralled by anthology TV shows as I am. even though you guys voted for Tales from the Dark Side. Do you have a particular film that I'll watch on Halloween? It changes every year, Joey. To be honest with you, it used to be Halloween. Like that would be like a given for me every year. But I'm really pushing hard to try and mix it up and to make sure that there's different things that I watch every year. Amy, I definitely recommend diving into it again. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. You voted for Night Killer. Night Killer is still on the list for this month, Death Bomb. So you're still going to get Night Killer. I didn't sit through Night Killer twice, not to come on here one of these nights and talk about Night Killer. Because oh my God, how can I not talk about a movie that stars the original Doctor Strange in a very unique role? Yeah, Peter Hooten's in it. You also voted for Night Killer? Well, don't worry, Night Killer's tomorrow's video. So if you haven't watched Night Killer yet, get your copy of Night Killer out from Severin Films and watch it because Night Killer is on the list for tomorrow. I've already watched it and all the features, which are only 2 interviews really. You vote down from both your accounts. But one thing I promise you is as we go through the 31 days of horror, I'm going to try my best to not make this, as I do with, well, as I try to do every year, not your typical 31 days of horror. So you're not going to see a lot of like Halloweens on here. I can do those anytime. Something killed in the end. But what's my favorite Romero movie and my favorite Romero Blu-ray release? Oh, well, I'm guessing it would be the Dawn of the Dead release that I don't have. Um, Give to the Aaron Pin Fund for the Dawn of the Dead release. There we go. God, it's a horrible accent. And to think I was going to act. I really had to work on accents. That's the thing. That's the thing I gotta work on, guys. My favorite Romero film. Ooh. Although I go back and forth, it's probably Dawn actually. I love Dead, and sometimes I think Dead is like probably the best of the Romero, like of the trilogy before it became a bunch of films. But Night of the Living Dead yours? But there's something about Dawn of the Dead that just drives me back to it. Maybe part of the reason watching Dawn of the Dead is so special for me now is because, well, look at what we're in. And 2, it's got a mall. For those that don't know me very well, I basically, I love the mall. I lived in the mall. I'm a child of the 80s. Would I give it a list? I purposely don't give it a list, Kubrick, to be honest with you. A lot of people, they'll show their list. They'll go on Twitter. They'll go on Instagram. Look, this is my 31 days list. I keep it a little bit open. Like for this day, for instance, I watched multiple movies over the last couple of days so that I could give you guys 3 choices. I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to start it up with just, okay, this is the movie for this video. I wanted to start up this, go right on to Twitter, start it up and say, okay, here's 3 movies to choose from. You get to choose the first film for the 31 Days of Horror, and hopefully that is something that a bit of unpredictability is something that you can hopefully enjoy about my channel. That's one thing that I try to do. Now, because I work different nights and stuff nowadays, it's going to be, some of my videos are going to be at different times. Not every video is going to be like 2 hours long, like or an hour long, because honestly, work has been really, really rough lately, and there's a lot more responsibility on my plate, which caused me to work a lot more on that. Your favorite Creepshow? Oh, you know what? I didn't even think about Creepshow. We were talking about anthologies. I didn't think about Creepshow. Jordy Varro, you long kid. I like the way Day you kind of expect, but Day kind of telegraphs in a way, like where it's going to go with these films. See, none of these films like Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, or Day of the Dead, you're not going to be have a happy ending to a of the Dead film. There's never going to be like one of these where it's like where somebody's gonna jump in at last minute and say, "Zombieism is cured. We can all go back to in our homes now. It's all fine. Zombieism is over." Verilok is only spelled BAD. Hey Brian, happy October to you. Hey there, Mike. How you doing? Have a frightfully good evening. So we all started watching our movies for the 31 days of horror. For those that came in late, tomorrow's movie is Claudio Fragasso's lost classic, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, aka Night Killer. Why is it called Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3? Well, we'll find out tomorrow. It's actually kind of an interesting story. The behind the scenes. Oh, oh, Brian. Do you have Night Killer from Severin? Mr. Sauer, do you have Night Killer? Have you watched it yet? You do? Well, Night Killer was called Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. I couldn't make that if I tried. So yeah, that's when it originally came out. I didn't get it when it originally came out. Much like Cruel Jaws, I had that slipcover. Night Killer originally had this bone slipcover that only, like Cruel Jaws, was only there for a couple days, and it had the original title of the film on there, and the original title of Night Killer is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. I know you're feeling pretty baffled right now, Brian, but I couldn't make that up if I tried. But what do we got to look forward to in tomorrow's video for Night Killer? Well, it's a movie that's directed by Troll 2's Claudio Fragasso under his North American anglicized name, Clyde Anderson. It is written by Rosella Drudy, who writes most of his films, and it is edited, and there's special sequences that are directed by the great Bruno Mattei. So, yeah, lots to unpack with that, guys. Does the movie involve Texas or chainsaws in any way? Craig, I don't want to give away too much, but let's just say there is no Texas and there is no chainsaws in the film. In any way. Don't think it's not a film worth watching, though. Trust me, this is definitely worth watching. Pieces is a closer thing to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Seven from Satan. Thank you so much, Flip. Man, you rock. By the way, I was on Flip's stream. I finally got to be on the other side of a stream, which makes me so excited. I got in at the end, though. Flip has the most impressive collection of like anime and Takatsu that I've seen. AME, were you on that stream? Because if you weren't, holy crap, man, you would be impressed. Oh, Brian, yeah, like stuff that I could only like dream of having when it comes to like the I'm not even joking. When it comes to like the anime and the Takatsu and stuff. My better half grew up with a lot of this stuff. So like as I know a bit about it, but I don't know as much as Flip, and I don't know as much as my better half does when it comes to that, or my kids actually. but my better half's like, she's the expert with it. Um, and she would be like insanely impressed. Like I was bummed that she wasn't there at the time. She was already gone to bed. That I when I flipped over, there we go, to watch the stream. I'm used to Katsu fan for those that are unaware. That's actually like one of my passions that I don't talk about. And I'm only like truly like starting to collect it. Thanks to like Scream Factory, Mill Creek, but like just the regular stuff like the Ultraman, and the and of course the the Power Rangers, the Super Sentai stuff. But I may actually avail of your knowledge, Flip, in the future when I'm looking at getting some releases because there's some stuff that we're checking out. My my daughter is hoping and praying that Kamen Rider gets a release here in North America in the near future. Today's the birthday of the living dead. Actually, I think you're right. Actually, I think it's actually George Romero Day is what they call it, right? Somebody said it here as well, which is ironic because I'll be honest with you, I didn't know it was George Romero Day when I chose a George Romero led series. Um, Now, one thing to know about this is it had a spin off show called Monsters, which is actually really, really good and has some great practical effects, as does this series right here. So, for those that went and picked up this for like $15 at your local Walmart, congratulations because you're gonna have a blast. Citizen Kane's Night of the Living Dead, the Citizen Kane of zombie films. I can see that. I mean, let's face it, like it is an amazing film. Like there's no way that we can actually look at Night of the Living Dead and never say, well, yeah, I'm not quite sure if that works. It definitely works. Monsters is the one you watched a lot. For those that don't know, Monsters was an anthology series, and there's a bit more tongue in cheekness, a bit more like focus on the actual quote unquote like titular monsters of the show. Every episode of Monsters would start out with, and I'm sure you remember this. We'd see like first we'd see this family. We wouldn't see them well at first, but it would be like these family of monsters that were sitting around the TV, and they'd turn on the TV and like, oh look, our favorite show is coming on, Monsters. That was the opening of the series. Fever Man, I think so. Fever Man, I'm pretty sure it is a particularly good episode of Monsters that does really stand out and has some incredible special effects in it as well. So if you have not seen that, I do recommend that you check that out as well. My daughter has the series Monsters. Went on sale on Amazon, and I stupidly didn't pick it up, but eventually will. You show Tales of Monsters back to back. They did actually. I remember that too. They did here as well. You missed Cisco and Ebert? Ah, me too, man. Me too. I didn't always agree with them on stuff, but I didn't have to. Uh, Cisco and Ebert just did amazing. They had a love of cinema. If they hated the film that you liked, it was okay because you could actually you could disagree with them and have fun with it. They hated Friday the 13th. They did questionable tactics when it came to Friday the 13th. And do I think they really hated Friday the 13th as much as they let on? No, I think you're as a movie critic, you're going to see movies like on a daily basis, and I love slasher films. But I will be the first person to mention that a lot of slasher films were does if you're a movie critic and you're going to multiple movies uh, every day, and a lot of them are exactly the same, I can see a little bit of like stress coming out there. But more than anything else, I think that Cisco and Ebert, and they know this, that Friday the 13th kind of made them. Their quote unquote like crusade against dead kid films is exactly what made their show popular in the first place. They went from doing basically at the movies to basically Cisco and Ebert at the movies. They had a kind of more of a public access show, kind of like Michael Medved, who kind of went a little bit nuts, and and into it to having like a bigger program. That one of my favorite episodes of Cisco and Ebert was when Roger Ebert showed his like where he does his basically his film reviewing at, and he does his studying when he's writing his books. He says he had a movie library and a laserdisc player and a big screen TV. And for those that don't know, and those that are about to know, uh, Roger Ebert is the inspiration for what you see around you right now. I was a huge fan of Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel when I was a kid, and being a movie critic was like this secret dream that I thought I was going to be an actor. So obviously that's not something I could do. That and how could you be a movie critic? That's like an unreachable goal. It's something that you only see, that that like only really big. It seemed like something beyond my reach. Um, I'm not even joking. A lot of Cisco Neighbors episodes are on YouTube. I actually binge them quite every once in a while. I get like to these moods. Over 500 I'm so jealous of you guys laser discs. I only got a few laser discs. I mean, I got like maybe 25, 30 laser discs max. I've shown them on here before, and I will do it again sometime in the future. See, everybody's a movie critic. Now, everybody criticizes film. There's a difference. Um, b- Actual movie critic is totally a different thing, uh, in my opinion, anyway. Um, hey, Ryan, welcome, man. You come to near the end. That's okay because we talked today about Tales from the Dark Side, which is one of my favorite anthology films of all time. I do think it is a quote unquote perfect anthology film. Uh, Next year, maybe I'll do Tales from the Hood. Critic and Rotten Tomatoes. I Well, Rotten Tomatoes really that's like an aggregator site for like you know other people, like reviews and stuff all around the net, and basically other. But there are still critics on you know anybody should be able to criticize a film. Isn't it great? Isn't it fantastic, Ryan? I'm glad you rewatched it. Because I got to say, um, did you not agree that like, pretty much like every segment stands solid and it just holds strong today? The wraparound's the perfect wraparound. Every one of the segments. Hey there, River. Amy is one of your favorite critics. Amy is fantastic. And by the way, guys, if you haven't checked out his channel as well, make sure that you're doing that. Ryan has a fantastic channel on there. He's going through the albums and stuff. Kubrick does some amazing stuff. There's so many people. If you're on here and you're just and you're not just, but you don't have a channel. You're on here like to chat, to talk, to watch, uh, or you're new. One thing you should know that a lot of the people that are commenting on here have some amazing YouTube channels and do some incredible work. Brian Sauer on here right now not only has a YouTube channel that he recently started doing, but he is one of the premier podcasters that we have on the go right now. He does Just the Disc and Pure Cinema podcast, which is a must for everybody. Hey there, Jonathan, that I fanboyed over for a long time. For those that don't know, actually, in ironically, but in one kind of a oh my god moment, uh, recently, the latest episode of Just the Disc, or was the latest one when I listened to it. Um, I'm guessing on, but me and Brian talk on the to watch pile, and at the exact same day, VHS podcast, which I did with Dirk, um, dropped. So if you are after this and you feel like you need more of me chatting about movies, then make sure you check out Just for This podcast and VHUS. Um, I'll be honest with you, when it comes to the fact that I've been that I've been lucky enough to be in these podcasts. Um, and if I sound um, like I'm at least semi coherent, it's because they are amazing people that are working on these podcasts that are doing so much great stuff. Um, they make me sound better. They definitely do. Brian and me have been doing like just this for like I've been on it like what's it now 5 times, 4 times, 5 times, somewhere around there, right? Because we did the Vincent ones, we did. I know I was in the inaugural actually it's Watch Pile, which has now gone on to be like a bigger thing in your channel. I was on the first one of those. I was actually I think at my dad's when we did that. Uh, Got to have me on sometime again, Brian. We got well, we'll bank something when you're not so busy. Brian's working on a really big one right now, so just keep an eye out for that. Big interview coming up for the Just to This podcast, and I'm very very proud of him. So congratulations. You only heard two, then you got a few more to listen to, Kubrick. I always got my pile, but and for those that came in late, the Night Killer, Claudio Fragaso's film is going to be tomorrow night's video. That's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow night, and I'm actually super stoked with that. The second Cinema Dave, yes, that was actually a really good one. Uh, I want to be on Cinema Dave invited me back to do like a third episode of Sunday Live, and I'm I got to find a way to do it because I now work Sundays from now till after Christmas as well, and because my job has changed recently, uh, a bit more like when it comes to responsibility in that wise. Then that I got to make sure that I got to block some time off because I really want to do that. And I was asked to be on Film Journey, which is Nathan Jones' show, and I really am excited to do that as well. And congratulations, Nathan and Vanessa. Uh, that's all I'll say. No, unfortunately, I wish. Not being paid more, but more responsibility. Um, the way I see it, though, it's like you can't get, you can't always get the, if you don't get the extra pay, at least you know that you're being like, do I collect books about film? I do actually. Death Bomb. I recently did a video about books. I may take one of these 31 Days of Horror to not just talk about a film, but to do what I've been promising since I did my book one, and give a 31 Days of horror trivia quiz. So if you guys would like that, we can make that one of the things that we do during 31 Days of Horror because I promise you guys a trivia quiz. Oh no, it's like it may not be the thing is it may not be more money, but it is more responsibility, and I see that as them like at least investing in the fact that I'm lucky enough that one I'm still working, and that they think enough about me to actually give me more to do. Because I think about it any other way, I'd probably cry. Some good like book recommendations. You mean like nonfiction or fiction? Oh, the documentary on Tales from the Dark Side was incredible, Ryan. I watched it twice actually. Books on films. It's not just on films, but Stephen King's Danse Macabre is incredible. Uh, there's a really good book on like the shooting of the shower scene from from Psycho. There's a lot of really good film theory books that are out there. Let me think about that actually. It is a feature length documentary. Definitely, like I think you got it, didn't you? Didn't you, Brian? You got the Tales from the Dark Side, or you said you're going to be in Tales from the Dark Side. But yeah, it talks about everything. It talks about how the director that got the job. It talks about like the casting of the film, who didn't get cast, who did get cast, um, like how people were on set, uh, who were who was the one that most of them kind of like most of the people behind the scenes, like the girls and stuff, were most enamored with? Which I will tell you. You want to know who the Tales from Darkside had? Like Christian Slater, and it had uh, it had Dave Johansen. It had like a bunch of actors in it. It had James Remar. Do you know who the basically a lot of the actors and the girls what thought was the heartthrob? And Ryan guessed it immediately. You're correct, actually. Steve Buscemi was considered like like he did a lot of theater and a lot of indie films and stuff like that. He was literally like an indie darling. They thought of him as like this as this genius actor. So, there was Christian Slater was like the young, good looking, like I guess the what who should have been what normally you would think of as a heartthrob, but Steve Buscemi was the guy that the girls got nervous around, which I think is fantastic because Buscemi is such an incredibly immaculate actor and one that I study as well still to this day. One of these days you never know, I may actually get to do something when it comes to acting wise. Though at this point I'd just like to be in a featurette on a Blu-ray sometime, which I almost was, thanks to Jamie Blanks, but I don't check my messages enough. Trees Lounge is fantastic. He's just one of those actors that I gotta say, whenever he's in it, he just like his scenes like whatever level everybody's else at, he's at an 11. Um, he's that good. The USA feature on a Vince Tim release. From from your lips to their ears. That's what we need. You know, we can beat him Fargo. Ghost World, I really love Ghost World. I love the graphic novel, so that, it was kind of a given. But when I found out that Steve Buscemi was going to be in it, that was it. Like there was no missing out on it at that point. So we did a bit of talking for Tales from the Dark Side the movie, a little bit of talking on Tales from the Dark Side the series. Oh yeah, Ghost World's adaptation of a graphic novel. Oh, you've never read the graphic novel? Like 100% recommend it. Yes, Daniel Close. Uh, Also, by the way, if you like Ghost World, dive deep into the manic world of Daniel Close, Clowes, by the way, who is an incredible indie uh, comic book artist and writer who does some of my favorite work and some of my most read and reread graphic novels of all time. One of these days on here, uh, I'll do like I'll give you guys like a list of some cool like indie graphics novels to check out because little side thing here, I collected comic books and stuff long before I collected films. Need an Oscar for best horror movie. It's hard like nowadays, especially it's hard. I mean, like a lot of the really great horror comes to TV now. Have I seen First Love? Why does that sound familiar? I'm gonna look it up to see if I have seen it because the title sounds really familiar. Is that a newer film? If it's newer, I haven't seen it yet. Or were you asking AME? Got a fantastic cast. And it's Canadian, so I definitely want to see this. One night in Tokyo, a self-confident young boxer and a prostitute get caught up in a drug smuggling plot involving organized crime, corrupt cops, and a female assassin. Oh, hell yeah, I want to see this movie. Takeshi Mikai. Is it? Okay. Flip, Amy, you guys are the experts when it comes to this. How do I pronounce his name? Takeshi, I'm pretty sure I got that part right. I'm not the best when it comes to pronunciations. And I'm going to a foreign country. Is it McKay? McKee? Mackay? Because I know I should know this, but I suck at pronunciation. McKay, thank you. Takeshi McKay? Now there's a director that I would love to talk about. And in actuality, we're kind of going to be talking about one of his films, or a film that he did part of the trilogy of during this month. So, AME, Flip. One thing I can say is there's a certain film that came out from Arrow Video that's going to be talked about this month here on the 31 Days of Horror. A certain Asian horror film and a series, actually, that I think is underrated and doesn't get like the love that other ones like The Grudge and The Ring does. So you guys can figure it out. I'm sure all of you guys can figure it out. And I did manage to pick up that trilogy just after it came out because he put it on sale on Amazon. You're right, Dustin. One Missed Call. We're going to be talking about the One Missed Call trilogy here during the 31 Days of Horror. So lots of stuff coming up. Night Killer tomorrow. One Missed Call. Do trailers on my channel for my show. I never really thought about that, but that's a great idea, Kubrick. And by the way, if you haven't checked it out yet, it's about some kind of telephone. It may be about. Have you not seen it, Flip? You're joking. I know you. As mentioned on Just the Discs, actually, yes, it was mentioned on Just the Discs. As mentioned on the famous podcast Just the Discs. Make sure when you're not watching videos and you're not watching movies that you're listening to some of these amazing podcasts that are being done, and some of these people that are talking on here that have amazing channels. People like Flip and AME and Just the Discs and Kubrick, and there's just so many of you guys that just do such incredible work. I much prefer the original Grudge to the John to the remake. I actually found the remake kind of blah when I first saw it. Although I think it was done by the same director. I just enjoyed the format of that one better. Anyway, I am starving. I am Aaron. Welcome to... What's the shirt tonight before I go? Oh, it's just the basically Bowie 74 World Tour. I'm a huge David Bowie fan. Both me and my better half are. And this is like the world tour that I wish I would have went to. Welcome to day one of the 31 days of mostly live horror. Obviously, I'm going to be traveling for a couple days, so not every day is going to be live. So there's a couple days I'm going to have to bank. I will see you again soon. Thanks for coming in. Thank you so much, Flip. I really, truly appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, to my patrons, the Crimson Cult. You guys rock. To my regular viewers and the newcomers that like and share all the stuff. I truly appreciate it. It means the world to me. And this month we were in the red, so it really meant the world to me. Have a fantastic day, and I will talk to you guys soon. See you here tomorrow for Night Killer, Cloud of Fragasa Classic, and 31 Days of Horror. Do number 2.